Hi and welcome to Aquatic Mike. It's been a while since I last provided you with a video, so today I'm bringing you a video of Hoplisoma duplicareum, a spawning video. Up here we've got the female to the left carrying some eggs in between her pelvic fins. The males are chasing. And when the males spar with one another and when they chase the female, they don't harm one another, nor do they harm the female. But there you've got the larger one's a female and she's carrying one egg in between her pelvic fins over there. And this is video from a recent spawn. I don't have footage of all of the species of fish that I've spawned when they spawn, but as time goes on I hope to provide more of that for this YouTube channel. The spawning information that I'll provide in this video is from the first spawn that I recorded. I may have had some prior to that, but the first one where I took all of the values and all of that. This was at 2019 in June, the 12th of June. I had 8 males and 12 females in the tank at that time. The tank measures 75 by 40 by 35. It's still the same tank as back then. The decor may have changed through time, but they're currently in here now with some Corydoras serratus. There's one underneath the filter now. Maybe you'll see some of the others throughout the video. They were not in there when I took the values, and the pH was 7, the KH was 2. There was a TDS of 135, and if you want that in microsiemens that would be 270. The temperature was 25 degrees Celsius. There's sand on the bottom of the tank, and there was back then as well. The furnishing of the tank was an Aquatic Turbo 500. It's in the left part of the tank. And there's an Hamburg Matten filter to the right. There's a mangrove root and some Java fern and a cryptocarina growing on the or near the mangrove root. There was only a Java fern when I first took the values and all of that. And now you can see quite a few of the males pestering one of the females. The footage is taken a few weeks before this video is out on YouTube. There was a total of 20 eggs deposited. They measured around 1.9 millimeter. And they're laying very few eggs at the time. Now you can see a Corydoras serratus on the right. He just went out of the picture or the frame. They were fertile to a percentage of 65, and out of those around about half hatched. It took quite long for them to hatch, 4 or 5 days, till all of them had hatched. It took 2 days till the fry were free swimming, give or take. They were first fed microworms, and at the start I was struggling to hatch some of the eggs. Now, as of late or several years later, I'm hatching a lot more of the fertile eggs. And I did not record what was fed the fish prior to spawning back then, but they've been fed Vitalis catfish, sometimes not as often, but at times some live Artemia. And back then they were fed tetratabimine. They're fed before and now freeze-dried tubifex. Occasionally they'll get live blackworms, but that's not very common. And they'll sometimes get frozen cyclops and frozen bloodworms. And back then I also fed with Sera Viformo and GBL Novotab. However, I don't feed with Sera Viformo, GBL Novotab nor tetratabimine any longer. They put down very few eggs at a time, and the females take quite long for them to find a decent spot to deposit their eggs, so it seems, or at least at the time of the recording. I've also got a video of me rearing the fry, and in that video I provide some general information regarding the species and how I raised and reared the fry. They often put down their eggs in the spawning mop. There's a spawning mop to the right that you may see sometimes in frame, and they'll sometimes put them behind the filter. They quite often, a long time ago, put down the majority of the eggs on the silicone in the in the corners of the tank. I wouldn't say these are hard to breed. They don't put down very many eggs at a time, and they spawn a little bit more often than some of the other species, or at least that's my experience. And no particular trigger was needed. They get water changes every now and again, obviously, and often when they're getting water changed, they're getting slightly cooler water, like dropping the temperature in the tank by a couple of degrees. But they don't seem to spawn every time just because they've had a water change. They'll spawn in between the water changes as well. They also put down some eggs in the or on the cryptocrine leaves, and they will sometimes have dropped an egg or two, or accidentally put an egg or two in the sand, although that's not very common. The majority of the eggs are put elsewhere. There's a heater in the background, although it's not like I'm not using it. I'm not running the heater in the tank. It's room temperature, but previously I had the heater always plugged in. I don't have footage of all of the species that are bred, but I hope to film more and more of them and provide you with on the YouTube channel. The fry that these fish, or this species of fish fry, are a bit delicate. I wouldn't put them together with for example Corydoras raimundi or Osteogaster Aenea or Venezuelanus or CW10, CW9, CW14s and whatnot. I'd rather put them together with like more similar fish in terms of how they feed. These are a bit more delicate when they feed. They're not as on top of the food as some of the species that I mentioned. So with Hoplisoma concolor, for example, or Hoplisoma och Ipocaense. There's plenty of other species obviously, but yeah, if one has the tanks, so you're not required to put them all together, I prefer putting these with more similar fish in regards to how they eat. I always withdraw the eggs. I manually go down in the tank and try and find all of the eggs where they've deposited them, pick them up, although this species don't eat as many of their own eggs as some of the others, so if you've got quite a bit of like Java moss or something where a fry could hide, you'll have some surviving in the tank if you don't take out the eggs like I do. I do that for most of the species, even some of the pygmies, not all of the time, but quite a few of the times when the pygmy species spawn. For example, Pygmaeus habrosum, hastatus. And there was a serratus in the back you could see as well. There's one quite large fish there, the male's trying to pester. There's a serratus in the back, by the way. And yeah, so I pick out the eggs and I put them in like a container with water. Either I'll put a fry ring in and hatch them in the tank so they've got access to the entire tank's water volume, or I'll pick them out and put them in a canister with a couple of liters of water, and if I put them in a container I'll also add some antifungal. Methylene blue I've used as of late. I put in 2 to 3 drops for 1 to 2 liter, but it depends on the solution, and I don't have the solution that I mixed as I made it myself from powder, so I don't recall how strong I made it, but I've also used Asia 2000 previously, and I've also used like atapa leaves, or what we in Sweden call olkottar, but it's like a small nut from a tree, which releases tannins in the water. I believe the English word for the cone is alder cone. But yeah, guess that's all that I had for the species. Thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, share and comment, and I hope to provide you with a new video a bit quicker than this, like last time. I've been working quite a lot, so I haven't had as much time making YouTube videos, but yeah. Alright, take care everyone. Bye.